كيف نعمل الفوتنج تاعيته. راح نجرب نعمل مثلا سنجل فوتنج، ستريب فوتنج للمنشأة تاعيتنا. في المقابل كل ما نخلص الحل تاعيتنا بنروح دائما وابدا على شيء بنسميه دروينجز، وباخذ من هناك الدروينجز تاعيتي جاهزه كامله، كم موزع الحديد في السلاب، كم موزع الحديد في البيم، كم موزع الحديد في الكولوم، سواء بدي اياه بالتو دايمنشن ولا بالثري دايمنشن بعطيني اياه. وبعد هيك ممكن اخذ الفايل تاعي واوديه على الاوتوكاد وراسا ايش اطبع. الان اذا انا بدي تقرير عن كل شيء عملته، بدي المومنت دياجرام والشير دياجرام والحديد وكل شيء، كله بيطلع في تيبلز معينة، وبتحكي له بدي تطبع لي 1 2 3 4 5، فبعملهم بفايل معين. بس انت بتعمل ايش؟ برنت للفايل هذا وبعطيك النتائج تاعيتك، وبكون جاهز التقرير تاعك. يعني اللي بيحاول يتابع معنا باستمرار وكل يوم خطوة خطوة، إذا عنده أي شيء ممكن يسأل السيد مصطفى أو المهندس اللي راح تشاركنا في المشروع تاعنا. راح تكون معنا المهندسة خبيرة من اليونان في سكادا برو، وتشرح في موضوع الفريم بشكل مفصل. مصطفى راح يشرح لكم بالبيلدينجز. فراح أعطي الآن الفلور للسيد مصطفى يحكي لكم عن السكادا برو، بعدين تدخل المهندسة أمالية. تفضل سيد مصطفى.
السلام عليكم. أولا أنا ببدأ بالإنجليزي عشان المهندسة زميلتي ما بتحكيش عربي، وبدالكم أنا presentation عن برنامج سكادا برو. أنا اسمي مصطفى انتصارات. I'm gonna do a small presentation about SCADA Pro. SCADA Pro is a result of 40 years continuous research and development. It's a static and dynamic analysis and design of advanced structures, supports all design of new constructions as well assessment and redesign of existing ones. As your professor said, it supports all different kinds of materials, concrete, steel, timber, masonry, and mixed structure. Furthermore, you will see automatically recognizes cross sections from any architectural format. File DWG file, DXF file incorporates the OCP optimization, the optimization structure for cost reductions. Also offers a two-way communication with other structures in architectural software and uses most modern technologies. Our software has a collaboration with the National Technical University of Athens to create new methods and reliable and accurate and fast solutions. Also, its interoperability with leading applications and standard file types. Also, SCADA Pro and SCADA Pro integrates BIM technology with two-way communication with any architectural and structural programs. As you see, Autodesk, Revit, G-Star is in a like AutoCAD, ArcLine and Arcadia are architecture softwares. Idea Statica is software for steel connection design. As you know, also the structural programs ETAP and SAP. You see here, this is the interface of SCADA Pro when you open it. It has different steps that we're going to use to start. We're going to start from modeling. You can model your structures, your foundations, the elements. You're going to see the loads, static loads, dynamics loads, using different regulations, Eurocodes or each country's regulations, annexations. Also has Saudi building code. You can do the analysis, automatically calculates the combinations. In the post-process, we're going to see the deformations and the structural stresses and others. And also in the member design, we'll do the checks reinforcement and detailings in the output you're going to make, the drawings, the bill of materials, and the printout, and finally we can do the optimization of the structure. Also, it has an advanced interface. You can see create multiple windows in your interface when you open the program, and these multiple interfaces can give you a model of the direct display of the screens, checks, also give you display and edit of data with tables in front of you. It also has a powerful graphic library with virtual high resolution virtual. You can see the whole structure that you have modeled. Also, SCADA Pro is a multilingual environment which contains 8 languages, which also does the analysis and checks with the country's regulations, annexations, and also provides you in the printouts for the respective languages. Also, it integrates the Arab regulations, Saudi building codes for concrete, steel, and masonry buildings. And see what does SCADA Pro enables the user and makes your life more convenient in the workspace. As we said, it recognizes cross sections for any architectural design, 2D or 3D DXF files. We can see here, for example, from AutoCAD, a 2D file, you can import it to SCADA Pro manually, or you can import it automatically, which will recognize all the cross sections of the plan and the structure, and will make the models automatically. Also, SCADA Pro, you can see also in the 3D view, will recognize any lines. You can insert it automatically just to apply the cross sections. And make the final model of the structure. Also enables the users to automatically convert lines, arcs, and circles and corresponding designs objects of SCADA Pro. Automatically creates 3D objects from the outlines of any shapes through the front view identification, which that helped you to create any structure you want. Also enables the users bi-directional communication between ETABS and SAB with SCADA Pro. We can import and export concrete, steel, timber, masonry with the loads and the analysis. For example, here we have from a project in SAP, and SAP has the American codes. You can import in SCADA Pro to use the Euro codes and do the modeling and design of the whole structure. Or you can model and design the structure in SCADA Pro, which has the simplicity and the other capabilities, and just do the analysis for the American codes and ETABS. Also, we have bidirectional communication with architecture applications. You can import files from Revit and import files, Excel files from our client that provides accurate data, which allow the automatic identification of all components of SCADA Pro, columns, beams, slabs, etc., with their respective properties in order to create the modern analysis and design. Also, we have different elements that the software uses, so you can model structures with linear and 3D finite elements in interaction, also between linear and surface elements. So you have many capabilities in the software. Also, the type of analysis the software does, we have static analysis, linear static analysis, linear dynamic analysis, pushover analysis. Pushover analysis, the professor will explain to you what is pushover analysis, linear time history analysis, and non-linear time history analysis according to the Euro code and Saudi building code. Type of materials that you use, we're going to start from materials. We're going to start with concrete. SCADA Pro offers a rich library of standard and arbitrary cross sections, infinite modeling and capabilities from client beams, columns with arbitrary sections, slabs of any shapes and type. Also can do flat slabs combined in multi-level foundations with footing, connecting beams, strip footing, beams, mat foundations. So also here, the simplicity of the software gives you unique features, so you can the software automatically recognizes the thickness of the slabs and automatically designs the whole structure members and displays. It also will give you fail design checks, so you can know where is the failure and what is the cause of the failure, and will display the strength of the ratio of other colors. For example, you can see we have failure, red is a failure, pink we have serviceability failure. You can alter that, and client there's no failure. Also you can see that also in different type, the slabs, different indications show you for the slabs, for the footings. Also with the unique fusion design is powerful reinforcement editors for the editing and modification and 3D display of layers of the reinforcement. So you can do the reinforcement, automatic bending, shear, checking, and moment resistance, the calculation of moment resistance by the momentary grams. So you can do all these, alter them and change them, and do see them in 3D view and change and alter them. Will make your life simpler to do the edit and change these things. Also in design details, it gives you layouts of the beams, the columns, beam detailings, column detailings. Also you can create a report for structural drawings and details and reinforcements into a DWG file, and will give you also the bill of materials. For steel, we have a rich library for steel connections, steel sections, hot rolled and cold form, and has automatic templates with different typical structures, and automatically calculates and distributes wind loads and snow loads, and automatically calculates the combination. Also, you're going to see here we have different steel connections. The software offers has a library of different steel connections that can use to modify and change your structure and the elements you're going to change. You can do. Also, you can see here design checks for the steel member connections, checking for structure members, bending, torsion, buckling, all necessary checks for ultimate serviceability, limits, and analysis design of composite structures, and design all types of structures. And all this you can plan. All these you can plan and evaluate in the section view, and connecting details and the capability, exporting it and saving it to a DWG file format. Also, we have code form steel sections. Also, timber library of typical sections and automate templates and design checks for all members according to Eurocode 5 and respective national annexations. Also, timber connections, type timber connections, does the checks for the timber members and connections according to Eurocode 5. Also, we have masonry, a rich library of masonry units and mortar walls, and automate templates, typical structures you can do with 3D finite surface elements, and the automatic front view identification from the DWG file will also do automatic load and distribution of tools and surfaces of these elements, and do the design checks, piers, and spandrels of the masonry wall according to Eurocode 6. And here finally we have SCADA Pro OCP structural optimization module. It's a module to reduce cost, applying optimization technology. Is an ACP computing platform that applies optimization theory to real structures with the ultimate goal to minimize construction costs from materials and labor. This will help you to reduce your cost from 10 to 25% in any project, and according with the regulations and according with the regulation, the codes you're using. Also, it has BIM technology, which is building information modeling, so you can use it with other software, SCADA Pro or SAP 2000 or ETABS and others. And this is thank you very much. It's a small presentation for SCADA. And I give the floor to my colleague, Amalia, to Engineer Amalia, to continue.
Good morning. Hi. So thank you all of you to be here today. My name is Amalia Bagodi. I am talking to you from Greece, from Athens, and I'm really happy to be here with you and have this opportunity to give you some more detailed information about SCADA Pro. So what I am going to do with you is to show you in detail how to make an entire project in SCADA Pro. So to start, we will see a concrete project. I know that you have a template that you need to resolve and to see all the analysis details and the modeling and the reinforcement. So we were going to do all the steps together. In order to start, I want to tell you that in the meantime that I will explain you and show you some details, this first lesson will be an introduction in SCADA Pro. So in the meantime, if you have any question, please don't hesitate to interrupt me and ask me anything you need, or else I will give you the opportunity to talk at the end of. So so let me try to share my screen. Okay. So I believe that now you can see my screen. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So please, Mohammed, if there is any problem, any technical problem, tell me. So it will be everything okay. No, wait. Here I am. So this is the environment of SCADA Pro. So when you click, let me do it from the beginning. Okay. So let me double click on SCADA Pro. I will give you some details that you need to know. Please, when you use SCADA Pro, always use it as administrator. So I waited a minute to open the software, and I will show you what I want you, all of you, to do. I believe that you already have the student license, and all of you have the software in your PCs. So let me, 1 second, I put it here. So what I want you to do is to do right click and in properties, in compatibility, I want you to run this program as administrator. You see, in my computer is enabled because it's already done. So click this and then apply, and you will use it as administrator. This is important because you will have all the opportunities that gives you the software. So let me go on. Why I have it 2 times. So let me start from the beginning. Okay, this is how the software begins. Okay, in the middle of the interface, you see this window. Window gives you a lot of opportunities. Let me explain you. This is the first part that we see, and you can click on these tabs in order to start a new project, to open an existing project. You can use this button that we will use together. This is a very important button because you can do the automatic recognition of the structural elements, like Mohammed told you in the good presentation that he did. And we will push this bottom and see what we can do. But let me go on. Okay, this is a Revit bottom. This means that if I click on a Revit, I can read a Revit file, so an IFC file, and I can import it directly inside the SCADA Pro environment. ArcLine XP is the same thing. I can read an XML file. Arcadia is another architectural software, so I can do the architectural part and then I can use it directly inside SCADA Pro. GistarCAD is another software like AutoCAD, okay? And ETABS and SAP, you know, very good. There are structural softwares that can be read it from SCADA, and not only read it, I can go on with this the project inside SCADA. So these are the first bottoms inside the this window, the first window of SCADA. The templates, okay, we will talk about the templates. There are very common structural projects that I can use in order to save the time of modeling. And here you can see the different modules of SCADA. So you can have the concrete, the retrofit, the steel, masonry, timber, and all the other add-ons of SCADA Pro. Here I can see some recent projects. So if I click on this, I can have a preview of the model that is inside this project file, okay? And some details about the modules that you have, what is active, what is not active in your permission. Furthermore, here, if I click manuals, this would be very useful for you. You can see that inside you can find some PDF files that explains you, that contains the manuals of the software. So each manual is has the same name with these tabs that you can see on the top. So you see basic, modeling, view, tools. So inside each one, you can see the explanation of all the commands that are contained in these tabs. Inside examples, you will have other PDF files that are entire examples of different projects. So we will talk about the first example that contains a new concrete building, and we can see a lot of features of how to complete an entire project. This will be useful for you. Videos, you have the opportunity to see some videos, okay, that can help you to have a look of what you can do inside SCADA and how to do it. And these are the most important, okay? News releases and support is not so important. So we explained this first window that is very important, but let me tell you something. If you don't close this window, you cannot do anything. I click here and I only hear some bling, so I can do anything. I need or to close this window or to click in one button in order to start to do something. Let me tell you another tip, important thing. So I will start with new, no automatic way, anything ready. I will not use any beam connection, just new. So I click new, and here I see that the software tells me, please give me the name of the project. So the first thing you have to do always is to type a name of a project. So I will say that this will be lesson 1. Okay, let me tell you something. Because you see that this is an international software, so we have to take care of some rules. Because of the different characters that we have in Greek language, in Jordan language, so please use only the English, the Latin letters in order to type the names. So I want you to take care of these details that I give you now. Use only Latin letters and or numbers. And please do not use any question marks or lines or spaces or specific characters. Okay? So in order to use this software all around the world, we have to make some rules. So this is a very nice name of this project, small name and Latin letters and numbers. And the second thing I want you to take care is that all of you, I want to make a folder inside your local disk. So inside the local disk, where you can find, let me show you, where you can find SCADA, SCADA 20, okay, I want you to make a folder. You can call it like projects. So in this projects file, let's say that this one is projects, it's the same thing with the Latin letters in Greek. So this is like projects with Latin letters in Greek. And please insert inside this folder all the projects that you do in SCADA. So now I click OK, and then the next window that comes automatically is the general parameters window. So here is very nice to start by giving the regulation. You see here I have the Greek regulation, but you don't need these in your country. So I want you or to decide the Saudi building codes, or otherwise, and I believe this is better, to decide the Euro codes. So I click Euro codes, and here I have some annexes, okay? So in this case, you will use the general Unicode. So Eurocode general, and here you can decide from the beginning the quality of the materials that you use in your country. So, for example, in my country, we use the CE531 even for foundation and for the upper structure, okay? And we use for example, usually it's this quality of steel for the reinforcement. So here you find the qualities that they are inside Eurocode, okay? And you decide what to use. I click OK, and now starts everything. So you see two kinds of windows inside the environment. I can decide to switch off one of them and keep one of them, or I can decide to create more windows like this, and then how to dispose all these windows. Why we have all these windows? Okay, because you can see the 2D, the 3D view, and maybe the virtual view, and maybe you have two screens, so you can move one of them in the other screen. And the most important thing is that everything that you do in one window, you can see it in each one. And also you can start in one window and go on in the other one. So all these things, we will see them while we work on SCADA. So let me start with one window. And here we are in the 2D view. You see something maybe a little bit strange for you, that the 2D view is XZ axis, and the y-axis is the vertical one. So this is not, you cannot change it. You will use XZ for the floor plan, and the Y, it will be the height one. So in this environment, you can see, let's start to explain a little bit these templates. No, these tabs, I'm sorry. So we will start with the basic one. As you see here, you can find some kind of commands that are very common with a CAD software. So you can draw a line, a circle, arc, you can move, copy, rotate, extend and trim, delete. So you see a lot of architectural commands, and this is what they are architectural commands. Here you can see layers, something very common also in CAD softwares, and the levels. So let me explain you this. You see that I am in 0 level. So the first window is 0 level. And what is really important to understand from the beginning is that 0 level is the foundation level. So let me explain. When the level that you put, okay, that the foundation is this one. So maybe you have a construction that has like 2 or 3 foundations. There are some big buildings that has a lot of foundations. But don't worry, this will be the first bottom foundation. So means that first level will be the second foundation, and then the third foundation, and then starts the level. So we start with 0, and we can create other levels. How we do this? We click here, and now I can create, this is the level management, and I create a lot of levels. I can say, for example, directly, I can put add, and as you see, I made a lot of levels. And after I did this, now I can use the arrows in order to go up, up, or down, down, okay? So another good thing to say is that if I go away from this tab and I open modeling tab, okay, I am not sure in what level I work in. So this is why, as you see here, I made some, I create my own line of commands in order to not to look inside the tabs to find where are some commands that I use very, very commonly. So how you can do this? You just, let me, for example, if I need this command, this is right. I right click on this and I click add to quick access toolbar. Okay, so I see it here. And if I don't need it anymore, I just go here and click and I remove it. And For example, I can remove some other commands that I have here. Here, as you see, I put the level numbering and the arrows in order to go on and to go up and down. So I will tell you what are the most useful commands, and I will explain you why you need to create your command bars. Okay. So, and another thing is that I can customize this and no minimize, I'm sorry, I can come here and show below the ribbon. So this this is where I prefer to have my toolbar, because it's more useful when I use the mouse. Nice. So here I can be in modeling and I can go upstairs and downstairs without entering each time inside basic. Let me finish with this part. Here we can see some properties, numbering. It's not very useful now. We will use it after we put something inside. DWG and DXF file here so means that it has something to do with the drawing file that I could insert inside. So we will talk about this. And then copy level and paste level, very, very useful, because I can draw something, I can model something inside a level, and then I can copy and paste to another level in order to save time. Modeling. Modeling is very, very important tab, because gives me the opportunity to model each structural element that I need for my project. We start with columns. You see that there are the concrete columns, the steel columns. Inside the steel there are also the wood columns. So what I want you to realize is that inside this software and this environment you can find all kind of materials: steel, concrete, masonry, timber, okay? And all the commands are common for each material. This is very useful, because when you learn something, you don't need to dislearn and learn something else for some other kind of material. Nice footings here. So foundation, surface elements, very important. Mohammed showed you that you can use linear elements and surface elements. Let me explain you what linear and surface are. So I will select a column, a rectangular one. So you see that this is the window that opens. So I selected a concrete material. The type, you remember in the first window that I select the quality of the concrete. So I found it here. I can change it. I can decide another one. So everything that I do is to save time, but I can always change the selection that I did previously. And even here you see concrete, but let me show you. If I select, for example, timber, I will find here the timber sections. If I select steel, I will find the steel sections. And what are these? These are libraries, okay? Libraries of sections. So about the steel, you see that there are some libraries that are precise, okay? You cannot create them, you can only decide the dimension of them, because they comes they come from Eurocode for Eurocode 3. So these are the sections that Eurocodes use. And this is the same thing about timber profiles. So these are the profiles that use Eurocode. And what about concrete? Concrete gives me some bigger opportunity. So I can select, for example, the geometry, the type, but then I can decide the geometry. So how I can do this? You see here the design and you type the numbers. So very, very important to realize that all the dimensions are in centimeters. So let me type, for example, 100 centimeter in y. The z, you see, this is the one. So let me type 30 centimeters, another 30 centimeters, and then for this part, let me type, for example, 120 centimeters. And you see that you design this here, and you can also see it in the 3D view, and you can realize the local axes. So these are the global axes, and you will see them inside SCADA with the big letter. So I don't remember how we can call them. So the big letters, and these will be with the small letters. Okay. So if I now click OK, no, let me show you another thing. Here you see there are some points, and I can choose these points, and these are the insert points. And I can also change the direction of the of the section. So let me click this insert point. Also, please note that I told you that there are the layers, and here you see these are the SCADA Pro layers. So these are the structural layers, and you see that automatically the software insert inside the right layer all the elements that I decide to insert. Okay, Muhammad, is there any problem?
Okay.
I go on. Okay, so I click here, I click OK, and now here I see this section. So I can just left click and leave it there, or I can select some snaps. We all know about snaps. I can, for example, snap to grid. So what I mean snap to grid, you see I click and I click the grid. So I can insert this on the grid. The grid is 100 per 100. We can change it, I can show you, but as default, these squares are 100 per 100. So I can click and leave it here, or I can use the absolute or the relative coordinates. So from the absolute coordinates, I click 0, 0, 0, or I can say, for example, 0, and let's show you 100, and I click OK, and you see, let me go near, that this is 100, and this is where the software insert this section. I can go on by inserting the same section. You see, I click and I still have this section on my mouse. If I don't want to have this section anymore, I just right click. So I think it's easy to understand how to insert sections. Then when I insert these two of them, I can go on basic and I can work like in CAD. So copy. I can use, here are the snaps, you see. absolute relative coordinates, and here are the selection opportunities. So the window gives me the opportunity to select all by window. Then you see here on the bottom, I have some commands that helps me to realize what I need to do later. So it says select objects and right click. So I right click and then tells me give me the characteristic point, and I give this characteristic point and then the position point, and now I have 4 section of columns. But let's see another thing. I switch off the snap, I don't need it anymore, and I go on this element. So I click on this element and look what happens. In the left part, I see a tree. We will call it tree, okay? This is the tree. So I see that inside the columns group, I have this element, that is, I click here and I have this one. And now I can also refresh and open and see that there are 4 columns. And here is the other one, and I can see inside in the right part the properties. So you see that this is a concrete material section. This is the type of the section and the type of material, and here you have the geometry, and the most important thing is that you can change everything here, you see. So I can, for example, say that this would be 130, and you see this changed. And if I want to change all the characteristic of this element, I can go here on more, opens again the window, the inserting window. It gives me the opportunity to change even the section. So I click OK, and I can change also the section. So this is for you only to take confidence, okay, with the environment. This is what I want to give you in this first meeting. So you see that I insert something, then I made some changes inside. I can change some characteristics. I can also this is important. Right click, view all is like the escape button. The escape button that you use to click for CAD softwares, you can do it in this way. Right click, view all. So I can delete this element, and I can also do undo, and I can have it again. And these are columns, but let me do another small step, this for the first lesson, and insert some beams. But in order to put some beams and show you some things that I want, I don't want to do this in the 0 level, because like I told you, in the 0 level, I am in the foundation level, and in the foundation level, I don't have beams, structural beams. Maybe I could have some footing beams, but not structural beams. So what can I do? I can go here on basic and click copy level. I go upstairs and I paste level. So now I am in the first floor. Let me show you here in the 3D view. Some of you will go here in the 3D view and say, but I cannot see anything. And why is this? Because these are sections. So let's explain you this. Sections are like a piece of paper. So it has no three-dimensional characteristics, okay? It will have three-dimensional characteristics after I will do the take note of this thing, the mathematical model of these elements. So this means that these are sections. Then there is the mathematical model, and this means that section plus mathematical model gives me the structural element. That was a preview of what I'm going to show you now. So I am in the first floor, okay, and let me put some beams, concrete beams. I select the simple one, so 30, 60. It goes directly in the concrete beams, and I click OK, and I want you to see something. I select the snap. The most common is the nearest one. So I click here, and I can start from a lot of points. Let me start from here. You see, I start from here, but it gives me like the insert point of the beam to be the center one. I can click tab. I just click tab on my PC, and you see I can change the position. Okay, so I need here. Then I can go in some place, like let's put it here. Okay, and then I can start from here, and let's decide to put it here. From here, tab, I put it here, so I can do whatever I want. This is only to show you something. So I have this combination of beams and columns, okay? And now, if I go downstairs, you remember I have only the columns. Here I have beam and columns. And let me do the step that I told you, because this is important to understand what are the linear elements, okay? I go here in tools. I see the new tab that we didn't see previously, but I tell you that this is the most important command, because this is the calculation of the mathematical model, means that will gives me the inertial characteristics. So I click OK, and let me explain you what happened here. Okay, now I have the opportunity. Let me open another window, vertical. So I click, you see, if this is blue and this is gray, so this is the active window, or I put my mouse here and you see this is blue and this is gray, so this is the active window. So I decide to see this in 3D view. So here is the 2D, here is the 3D, and you see now not the sections, you see some kind of lines with some kind of other lines, smaller in the beginning and at the end. But this is a very important point, and this is where I think that we can focus, because now if I click here, I see in the properties, let me make it a little bit bigger, okay, I see that yes, the cross section is a concrete beam, but the most important thing is that now this concrete beam has moments of inertia and has all the mathematical characteristics of the concrete beam. Also, I see a group that called rigid offsets, and you see some dx, y, dz, okay, and these are the rigid offsets. So let me explain you what these rigid offsets are. Let me, here, I am here on the bottom, math is mathematical, so this is physical. So now you see the section, so you see the element like a concrete beam. So this is a concrete beam, okay? And this is a concrete column. I put these columns and these beams in this way in order to show you. I click here again so I can see the mathematical and the physical again. So look inside. This is the beam and this is the column. When I need to make this, so to realize this in the real time, I need to insert a beam, and then I will stop the reinforcement and the material of the beam here that I found in the column. So, but the column has this node that is the geometrical point of this section. So if I don't have this rigid offset, what will happen? This concrete part will arrive until this node. Means that I will have more beam, a bigger beam, okay, and a bigger reinforcement. That means that even in the counting of material, it will be not right, and also in the designs of the reinforcement, it will be not right. So that's why the software automatically, let me show you this also in the 2D. So automatically insert this rigid offset. Let me show you what happened if I decide to make 0 this rigid offset. You see, I have the beam here, but the mathematical element of the beam is here. So what is really important to understand is that with SCADA Pro, you have the opportunity to have automatically the rigid offsets. If some of you used to work with SAP, for example, this is something that the user needs to do manually. So needs to go here and say that I need to find how is the dx and write the number in order to combine the mathematical model with the structural element. Okay. The last thing I want you to see for this first lesson, this first compact with SCADA Pro, is that after we create the mathematical model, we see nodes inside. So we see here vertical elements that are the columns. So I see a line, okay, a linear element with two nodes, one node and a second node. And these are the nodes that make the connection with the other elements, okay? So that's why we call them linear elements, okay? Another thing that you see here in the middle of the floor plan, you see another node. This is the master node. What is the master node? The master node is a node that gives me the idea of the slab. So let me explain you. When you have a slab here, okay, means that the nodes that are around this slab are in some kind depending, okay, in the deformation and the movement of the slab are dependent of this depending of the slab. So this master node gives me this this function, okay, and how can I see about this master node? I see it here. When I create the floor plans, you see that there is a light, and this light is switched on, and this is the rigid link constraint. So the master node gives me the rigid link constraint, so means that in the foundation floor I don't have this, okay, but in all the other floors I have this rigid link constraint because the program realized that in the common structures you have slabs. If you don't want this, you can even decide not to have the rigid link constraint, okay, or you can just delete the node. But before I do this, I want you to realize that this is the node number 9. So let me show you what means to have this node. Means that all the nodes that are around this floor plan will be slaved from this node in the dx and dz direction and in the rotations. So means in this floor plan there is a condition, okay? If I delete this, did it? I delete this, okay? And now I click on this node, I see that this is free to, the degrees of freedom of this node is freedom. So for me, the most important thing for the first lesson is to understand a little bit what it means structural elements. So what a column is, a beam is, how they can be connected between them, how they can be slaved one from the other, okay? What means the floor plans, okay? What is the physical and the mathematical model, and why they are, okay? So for me, very important are these easy nodes, because everything that we're going to do in our projects in the next lessons, we will talk about all these fundamental things. So mathematical models, levels, and structural elements, and we need always to give a name of the of the project that we will do, and how we manage the environment of the software, so project data, the properties, and all these things. So I switch off. I think that it's enough for the first day. So what we can do in order to close, to finish this project, I click save. Where I found this one, I found it here. So what I did, I click and I add it in my toolbar. So I have it here. Very important. So please do this, because it's very important to save, especially when you are a new one. So I save it, no? And now I can close the software, or I can just close the project. So if I close the project, I see the environment without the project, but then I want to take it again, I can do this in, I can just select it. So here I am. No, I switch off my, okay, I will try to do this. It's okay. Now you don't see my screen anymore, is that right? Okay. Can I have some minutes. So I would like, if some of you want to ask me something for this first lesson. Okay, two meanings. Or this lesson was perfect, or you didn't understand anything. I hope it's the first one. I give the command to someone else. I will thank you and hope to see you next week.
تفضل دكتور.
Thank you, Amalia, for your explanation about SCADA, and we hope we will see you next week.
Thank you for giving me.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye. See you.
Bye.
الدكتور رجائي.
حبيبنا كيف حالك؟
الحمد لله، صباح الخير.
الله يسلمك، شكرا يا مصطفى، الله يعطيك العافية.
يعافيك.
نحن هلا الشباب لازم يكون نزلوا البرنامج عندهم.
نعم.
شايف علي الفري اديشن تاعيتهم، ونودي لهم بلان لبناية بحيث يبدأ مصطفى معاهم بكيف يحطوا الأعمدة. خطوة خطوة الدايمنشن تاعيتها. احنا بنودي لهم المخطط، بنودي لهم مواقع الكولومز.
نعم.
وبعدين هم ببلشوا معانا بالضبط. المخطط بكون معهم والدايمنشن تاعيت الكولوم، وببدأ يعلمهم كيف يحطوا القواعد الكولومز، بعدين يحطوا الطوابق والفاونديشن، بعدين الخطوة اللي بعدها كيف يحملوا اللود خطوة خطوة بحيث انه يمارسوا العمل تاعهم الشباب.
هسه بالنسبة للبرنامج دكتورنا كيف بدهم ينزلوا؟ أعطيتهم دايركشن أنت؟
بنودي لهم دايركشن ينزلوا من الموقع تبع سكادا برو.
حلو.
بس الدكتور الشباب بيستعملوا الايميل تبع الجامعة ولا لا؟
هم تبع الجامعة بيستخدموا دكتور.
طب معناته انت بتقدر تدخل على الاي ليرنينج وتودي لي الاسماء مع الايميل تاعهم
على طول بودي لك كل الأسماء مع الإيميلات كاملة.
مشان نتواصل معهم
على طول يا سيدي. مشكور دكتور، الله يعطيك العافية.
اوكي ان شاء الله شباب. السلام عليكم.
شكرا لكم. شكرا.
سلام. اهلين.
أهلا. شباب الله يعطيكم العافية.
الله يعافيك دكتور. دكتور
شلون المحاضرة الأولى بالنسبة للبرنامج؟
منيحة دكتور، ممتازة.
طيب هلا أنا اللي شايفه لحد الآن الحضور تعيس جدا بالنسبة للطلاب. يعني إحنا 13 طالب فقط حاضرين، فأنا من اليوم راح أبدأ أحط الغياب والحضور، لأن هيني نزلت أنا الحضور والغياب، مش راح أحسب أول محاضرة، فمن اليوم إن شاء الله راح أبدأ أنزلهن. فحبايبي الرجاء الالتزام بالمحاضرات. هلا انا نزلت لكم النوتس لاول تشابتر اللي هو الكونتينوس بيم، اللي بدي اياه منكم انكم تتابعوهن هسه، تحضروهن، واي اسئله راح نعمل محاضره مع نهايه، يعني هاي المحاضره حاطها لكم لمده اسبوعين. يعني بعد اسبوعين راح يكون لنا لقاء ان شاء الله عشان نناقش معها هذه الماده. وتابعوا الاي ليرنينج. اميت راح يكون في عندكم اونلاين لكتشرز معي او مع اماليه من اليونان. ماشي حبايبي؟
يعني الأحد الجاي ما في محاضرة؟
لا، تابعوا الاي ليرنينج، انا بنزل لكم اميت راح يكون في محاضرات. اوكي، بس نعمل محاضره خاصه للماده. الرجاء انكم تسالوني بالماده اللي مضت، ماشي حبايبي، وكونوا متابعينها أول بأول. ماشي حبايبي.
تمام دكتور.
وإن شاء الله راح أنزل لكم الرابط تبع اللقاء المرة الجاية إن شاء الله. الله يعطيكم العافية.
إن شاء الله يعطيك العافية دكتور.
شكرا للجميع، شكرا. الله يعطيكم العافية.
أهلا.
أهلين هلا.